Hello and welcome back again. This video is for CSS for beginners or for web developers that might want to do some revision on cascading style sheet. So first, let's explain what CSS is. So CSS stands for cascading style sheet, and CSS can be used to make your website aesthetic appealing. For instance, you have a website only created with HTML and the text are only in black color with a background color of white. Now, if you haven't watched my HTML video where I explain everything about HTML, why HTML is not a programming language, and all the text that you need to know about HTML, please go back to my YouTube channel and watch that video. So if you have already watched it, let's continue. Let's say maybe you have this HTML code and you want to save it as index.html. So open your file or maybe your web page. So this is what it looks like. The text color is black and the background color is white. So let's say maybe you want to add some features to your website. To do so, you can use a CSS or cascading style sheet. There's many ways in which you can use CSS, maybe inside the tag or inside the head, putting your CSS code inside the head. But the most preferred way is by creating a CSS file and link it to your HTML file. So to do so, just create a new file, name it index.css, now as you can see, this is h1 or heading 1. Let's say maybe you want to change the color of this heading to blue. Just simply go back to your CSS. As you can see, this is h1, and when you use CSS, just simply type h1, which is the property name, and here let's say it is maybe the description of what you want your heading to look like. Let's say maybe you want to change the color to blue, followed by a semicolon. Now save your file, save as index.css, and when you try to refresh your code, your web page, nothing happens. This is because you haven't linked your HTML and CSS together. So in order to do so, simply go to your index.html or HTML file. At the end of your head tag, type link.rel style sheet, type which is text or CSS, and href which is the name of your CSS file, which is index.css in this case, and close tag. Save your file. When you go to your web page and refresh it, the color changes to blue. So there's many ways in which you can use the CSS file to make your website aesthetic appealing. So let's continue and see what we can do with CSS. Now let's say maybe you want to increase the font size of this heading. So just simply go to your CSS, inside h1, type font size, increase it to maybe 200 pixels, save it, save as index.css. Now go to our web page, refresh it. As you can see, it's bigger than the previous one. Now let's say maybe we want to change the background color to black. Black followed by a semicolon, as you can see, to separate the descriptions. This is your background color, which is black, and you can as well maybe add borders and border radius. Now let's add a border of blue, 5 pixels or 10 pixels. Let's say 10 pixels. Solid blue. Let's save our file. As you can see, this is your border. It's now blue, and you can as well maybe change the radius of your border. So let's add border radius. So let's make it 100 pixels in this case. Go to our web page and refresh it. Now you can see the border radius has changed. It's no longer corners, it's at least roundish. For instance, let's say maybe you want to change the font family. To, let's say maybe this one, which is a Lucida Sans regular, Lucida Grande, etc. So you don't need to memorize this because VS Code already has them stored. Save your file, refresh your page. So as you can see, your family font has changed. Now let's say maybe you want to make your website change color, or the heading change color when you hover on it. Let's say maybe you want to make it gold when you hover, or maybe increase in size. So simply go to your CSS file, type h1 semicolon hover, these brackets, and let's say maybe when you hover you want the color to change to maybe gold. Save your file, refresh. Now when you hover, you can see that the color changes from blue to gold. So there's many ways in which you can use CSS to make your website aesthetic appealing. Let's say maybe you have a button on your website. Now let's decrease. Let's decrease our font size to 100. And now let's create a button in our HTML. Button, let's say maybe you want to name it click here. Save as. When you refresh your page, this is what appears here. This is your button, and when you hover it, nothing happens. So let's say maybe you want to change the color and the border and the font family. Just go to your CSS file, button, color, which is, let's say, maybe red, and border 1 pixel, solid gold, semicolon, border radius of 5 pixels. Now save your file and go to your web page, refresh it. This is what it looks like. Let's say maybe you want to change the background color. Background color to maybe, let's check, any color, let's say maybe gray. When you refresh it, this is what your button looks like. Let's say, for instance, you want your button to increase in size when you hover it. Simply go to your CSS file, button, curly brackets, and you want to change size to maybe 30 pixels. Font size to maybe 25 pixels when you hover it, and change color to blue when you hover it, followed by semicolon. Now save your file. So now let's hover on our button and see what happens. As you can see, it increases in size, the font increases in size, as well as the button. Let's say maybe you want to change the background color as you hover on your button. Let's say maybe you want to change this to red. Simply go to button, hover, background color, which is red, refresh our page. So this is what happens. The background color changes to red as you hover on your button. So that's what I had for you guys in this video. This was a CSS for beginners, as well as for web developers that wanted to maybe make some revision on CSS. So if you like this video, please consider liking, subscribing, so that others can discover my channel. Thanks for watching, guys.